first big job was playing opening for Merle Travis, and he played this song, and it made me want to play the guitar, called "Walking the Strings." Thank you. Please welcome to the stage a lifelong friend in music, Mr. Matt Cartsonis. I don't think you've met him before. You're going to be awful glad you did. Matt and I ran into each other. I was with Nitty Gritty Dirt Band we just finished our 50th tour last year, and I took the door out. Thank you. It was quite a run. It was, we did things that nobody will ever equal. I mean, not that they were even that great, but nobody was going to play with Jack Benny again. And in the same month, play with the Doors for 12 shows. Or Bobby Sherman, remember Bobby Sherman?
I'm shaking and shaking.
Julie, 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 do you love me?
Julie, 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 do you care? Julie, Julie, are you thinking of me? Julie, Julie, will you still be there?
Thank you very much.
We've never done that before. But I asked Bobby Sherman one night, because we were doing a dozen shows with him, and one Bushnell Auditorium in Houston. In Hartford. Had an H anyway, okay. It gets clogged up in there, doesn't it? I mean, you can't remember everything, you remember parts of it. But don't worry. Next time you lose those car keys, do something the younger people can't do. Take the other car. I asked Bobby one night, I said, does it bother you that the girls scream all the way through the show? Because it was like, ah, Julie, Julie, ah. And he said, no, not at all, because I know something they don't. I said, what's that? He said, I can't sing. He said he had about a year and a half. A year and a half later, he went to L.A. to become an EMT. Now he's in the LAPD. And this is kind of about all that is. Well, I am a pilgrim and a stranger traveling through this wearisome land. I've got a home in that yonder city, good Lord, and it's not,
Oh, Lordy, it's
not made by man. Now I've got a mother and a father who have gone to that sweet home. I just pray that I can go and see them, good Lord, over on,
Oh, Lordy, over
on that other shore, Matt. Yeah, Matt Cartsonis on the mandolin. When I go down to that river of Jordan, just to bathe my weary soul. If I could touch but just the hem of his garment, good Lord, I believe.
Oh, Lordy, I believe.
Yeah, he can make me whole. Now when I am dead, laying in my coffin, all of my friends,
All of my friends.
both of my friends, all gathered round. They will say that he's laying there sleeping, good Lord. Sweet peace, I hope his soul has found. Now I'm a pilgrim and a stranger, traveling through this wearisome land. Now I don't know if Mr. Travis traveled this land much, because I don't think it's wearisome. I mean, I've stayed in some of the finest Holiday Inns in the country. But there was a time when the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band became the first American group to go to Russia. Thank you. It was like a whole other country over there. That's part of that strange experience. Is nobody else will ever be a first group. I traded a pair of Levi's for a house and a car. But I got back. And thanks to Mr. Travis, I got this song. One more time, man. Yeah, I'm a pilgrim and a stranger, traveling through this wearisome land. Jam it home, Matt. Any questions? I mean, this is a lot like having people over to my house. I have a really big kitchen, and you're in it right now.
What about that guitar?
None of your business. It was made in South Africa. You know, after 50 years of doing this, it's like the first question, what about that guitar? I should have had this 50 years ago. Well, then they wouldn't ask the question now. Everybody would know. Matt and I have an album out that I'm going to tell you about later called Made in Brooklyn. But what led up to that is a strange path I've been on over the years, meeting a bunch of fine people, musicians and songwriters the whole time. There was a time when we went through 4 albums, Nitty Gritty Dirt Band, and ended it. We were in the movie Paint Your Wagon. You familiar with that? Yeah. 4 months on the set watching Lee Marvin and Clint Eastwood learning how to sing. They needed more time. But it's awful cool working with them. When we were doing Hand Me Down That Can of Beans, that was the big song we had in the Miners at nighttime shot. Lee Marvin comes walking up to us. First time we see him, you know, it's like, oh my God, here's the Arnold Schwarzenegger of the day or whatever. And, do you boys know when they raised the flag over Iwo Jima? And, you know, knowing he's an ex-Marine and everything, it was like, oh no, if we get this wrong, we're fired on the spot. And, it was at the end of the war, World War II, it was sometime like in the late summer. And, oh hell, give me a G chord, it's a song. He started, when they raised the flag over Iwo Jima. And that led to such weird things. Things like this. I'm on the road one time at 1:30 in the morning, and my son calls me, Aaron, my oldest. Hey, Dad, Paint Your Wagon's on again. Yeah, it's on every 1 in the morning somewhere. Why are you calling? He says, well, it's about time for your close-up. Oh, there it is. Dad, is this ever weird for you? Well, see, it was a weird night because I had just finished opening for, well, a promoter in Salt Lake had called me that day and said, you want to make $1,000 plus airfare in a room? Yeah. come up to Pocatello with me and the band that I'm have headlining. The opener canceled. Who's the band that canceled? April Wine. Well, who's the headliner? I'm not telling you. And the headliner was Foreigner. Now, I was out of the band in the 90s. I was on an hiatus. There we go. And I was on Foreigner's chartered plane flying up to Pocatello, and I took my banjo case and opened it. I had to get something. And I knew when two of them walked up and looked in the case and went, "What's that?" I knew I was in trouble. But I figured, okay, there's 8,000 people. If I can get 10% of them to like me, it'll be fine. Well, it was more like 3%. And what's funny, if you can imagine my perspective, he can be me for a minute. I'm in front of 8,000 people on the stage playing silly songs, and this is what I saw. The whole set. This is what I saw.
Don't cry out loud.
But I had to be there, and I had to do 40 minutes. But 20 minutes in, one of the roadies in the wings yells out, "Incoming!" I looked up in the spotlight, and very slowly it turned, a Jim Beam bottle heading towards me. But it was off the mark a little bit, so I knocked it down. And the promoter's going, "You can get off now." No, I got 20 more minutes. But after Paint Your Wagon, that fifth album, we found Jimmy Ibbotson. And boy, that was a weird, wonderful discovery. Jimmy Ibbotson, you can clap for him.
You want to do Gene and
Sure. Let's do one of Jimmy's songs right now, because the Dirt Band went by and did all kinds of things. That fifth album, because of him, had a bunch of songs on it that made it to the radio with his wonderful voice and attitudes and stuff. Well, the good attitudes were good. Jimmy and he went on an hiatus in the late 70s. On an hiatus in the late 70s. And I went out and played a bunch of duo shows like this, and he had a song that I said, "You got to be back in the band so we can get this on country radio." This is the way it kind of sounded in Kansas City at the Uptown Ballroom.
there you go.
He and I were playing there, just the two of us, and by the middle of the song, people were singing along on a chorus on a song they'd never heard. I said, "This has got to be a hit."
You betcha. I played a wedding for the money, and I wished I could have told the bride and groom just what I think of marriage and what's in store after the honeymoon. And I was grumbling to the dancers about how men and women ought to live apart, and how a promise never made cannot be broken and can never break a heart. When suddenly from out of nowhere a little girl came dancing across the floor, and all her crinolines were billowing beneath the skirt of calico that she wore. And what a joy to all the honored guests as each of them was drawn into her dream. And they all laughed and stamped and clapped their hands and hollered at her, "Dance, little Jean." And they said, "Dance, little Jean, this day is for you. Two people you love stood up to say I do. Dance, little Jean, a prayer that you had was answered today. Your mama's marrying your dad." Well, my cynical heart just melted, 'cause I figured what this get-together meant. It had ended years of tears and sad confusion that the little girl had spent. And then they told the band to pack it up about the time the couple cut the cake. But we played as long as they stayed for love and laughs and little Jeannie's sake. And we sang, dance, little Jean, this day is for you. Two people you love stood up to say I do. Dance, little Jean, a prayer that you had was answered today. Your mama's marrying your dad. It was answered today. Your mother's marrying your dad.
Thank you. Back in those days, yeah, any questions? Got that one already. It's always good to find out if people have any questions, because some people do. And I was at the Steamboat Arabia Museum today, and David Holly's here tonight. What an honor. And I had a lot of questions. He didn't ask me if I had any, but I asked him. So you got one, David? Okay, you're good. No? What? Go ahead. Out of the dirt band years? Out of my dirt band years, I would say when we were rehearsing for that Uncle Charlie album, and 5 months, 6 hours a day, like 6 days a week. And one day, Jeff came into the rehearsal and says, I heard a song about a guy on the radio last night, a guy with a dead dog, and he dances. And I'm like, oh, the dead dog dances, or what is this? I didn't know, you know. And no, and it was written by some guy with 3 names. It was Jerry Jeff something or other. I think he liked it because the middle name was Jeff.
Oh.
Well, it made him remember. And Ibby goes, I got that in my record collection in the trunk of my car. We ran out to his car. His entire record collection was 145 records. Now, this is part of this story because it's just a magic thing. Jimmy Evanston drove out from Philadelphia to L.A. in a Dodge Dart. So shocked that he made it, actually. But
greatest car ever made.
Yeah.
I had 2 of them.
He drove out because he wanted to get in a band. And 6 months later, we were knocking on the door. After Paint Your Wagon, Jeff broke up the dirt band, and for 6 months we weren't a group. And but we were standing in a club watching a band named Pogo. They were still called Pogo because Walt Kelly hadn't sued them yet for using Pogo, so they changed it to Poco. And they were just killing. And Jeff and I looked at each other and said, let's get the dirt band back together. And so that's what led to those rehearsals and finding Jimmy Ibbotson. And now we're at his record collection, and he washes the rusty water off that 45 by Jerry Jeff. And it was hard to hear because on the record player, we didn't have speakers. So had to listen to the needle, you know. Of course, if you listen to the record on the radio, you'll hear Jeff sing, "The smoke ran out," when the words are really spoke right out. He spoke right out, but it was the 60s, okay? I don't know, what's he saying there? Oh, I think he said the smoke ran out. Oh, cool, yeah, the smoke ran out. Yeah, that's what it is. And so we learned the song off of a record that kind of sounded like this. I knew a man, Bojangles, and he danced for you. in worn out shoes, silver hair and a ragged shirt and baggy pants. He did the old soft shoe. Oh, he could jump so high, he could jump so high. And then he'd lightly touch down. And his name was Mr. Bojangles. Mr. Bojangles. Mr. Bojangles. Dance. Hey, Matt, dance. I met him in a cell in New Orleans. We were down and out. He looked to me to be the eyes of age. Then he spoke right out. Oh, he talked of his life. Yes, he talked of his life. Down at the end, somebody said, "Who is that crazy old man?" Then he said his name, Bojangles, and he danced a lick across the cell. He grabbed his pants for a better stance so he could jump so high. Then he clicked his heels. Oh, he let go a laugh. Yeah, I heard him laugh. And I said, "Hey, did you catch his name? Why, it's Mr. Bojangles. Mr. Bojangles. Mr. Bojangles." Dance. I'll dance.
He danced for those in minstrel shows and county fairs throughout the South. Spoke through tears of 15 years how his dog and he, they traveled about. The dog up and died, he up and died. After 20 years he still grieved. He said, "I dance now at every chance in honky-tonks for drinks and tips, but most of my time I spend behind these county bars, 'cause I drinks a bit." Shook his head as he shook his head. I heard someone ask, "Please."
You know his name, come on.
Mr. Bojangles.
Yeah, I knew a man, Bojangles, and he danced for you. And thanks to all you people who called in. He danced for all of us. Thank you very much. You know, people calling in, back in the days when that came out, maybe one of the reasons it's one of my favorite. It's water. Just a minute. I never drink on stage, anything. But I'm all excited because I'm at Frank's Knuckleheads. I got to say, this is the kind of place that you're very lucky to have, because it just doesn't exist anymore, except here. Frank does a great job. He's highly respected by all the people that play here, too. But back when that came out, it was one reason it's an exciting song to us is it had been on the charts for 18 weeks, and most records had a 12-week life. And the record company said, it made it to number 17, it's over, though, and it's going to go away now. And, well, okay, good. It was out there a long time. We just wanted a top 10. We thought maybe it'd be, they said it was going to go away. The next week it went up to 15. And we thought, it has a chance. But the next week it went to like 16. We figured they were right. But the next week it went to 13. It started getting more phone calls and airplay and stuff, but we really wanted a top 10. I mean, you've been in a band, you rehearsed, you made the 5th album. You've never heard anyone say, we have a top 13 record. Just, you wanted to say top 10. And they said, well, there's only one thing that might help if you play a certain Catholic girls' school. Doesn't make sense, does it? Well, go back to that time when we weren't getting played on ABC in New York, and they'd said they weren't going to play it. And, well, if they didn't play it, BCN in Boston and Quixie in Atlanta and LS in Chicago, they wouldn't play it because they followed ABC. So why do we play the Catholic girls' school? Nothing against girls' schools or Catholics, but just curious. Wouldn't you be curious? Well, the guy that programmed ABC, Rick Sklar, his daughter went to that school. So there we were at 10 in the morning on a Friday, getting ready to play the lunchroom of a junior high Catholic girls' school. And a train came along. And anyway, a sister walks in and says, can I help you boys with anything? No, sister, I'm just wondering who else has played your lunchroom program for the girls? Oh, we've been very lucky this year. We've had Paul Simon. Boy, he's very good. And, oh, the Jackson 5. And then last month, Aretha Franklin. And, oh, early in the year, Mr. John Lennon. What a nice boy. Do you boys need anything? No. We just need to get ready. So we played the show. Driving out of town, we were in New York City. Driving out of town on Monday on ABC in New York. Here's a new song by the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band. I knew a man, Bojangles, and he danced for you. And thanks to that, it made it to number 9. We made the top 10. And it was on the charts 36 weeks total. Now, there's other songs that we did. Let's do that one in E. You betcha. This is a song we released 3 times as a single because radio, like Shreveport radio, was playing it. It was getting played on, what is it here? The BCL, WB something. The only W station. Thank you. It was the only W station west of the Mississippi. All the W's are east and the K's are west. It was getting played on there, and it didn't get up the charts very much, but it was breaking a cardinal rule. The title of the song wasn't in the song. It's called Some of Shelley's Blues. And people would go in and get, I just heard a song on the radio, kind of Tell Me or something like that. No, we don't have it. So we put it out a couple more times. But anyway, it's still one of my favorites. Ready, boys?
Oh.
Tell me just one more time the reason why you must leave. Tell me once more why you're sure you don't need me. Tell me again, but I don't think you'll convince me. You said about falling in love again, you'd rather be dead. When someone breaks your heart, you cry your eyes red. There's nothing so hard about the life that you led. As far as I can see, there's no reason for goodbye.
You're just running scared, and that's something I won't buy.
So you lose. I won't let you go. There's nothing to show but more blues. All this talk about leaving is strictly bad news. So you settle down and stay with the boy that loves you. As far as I can see, there's no reason for goodbye. Thank you.
You're just running scared, and that's something I won't buy.
So you lose. I won't let you go. There's nothing to show but more blues. All this talk about leaving is strictly bad news. So you settle down and stay with the boy that loves you. Yeah, you settle down and stay with the boy that loves you. Oh, man.
Oh, you settle down and stay with the boy that loves you.
Thank you very much. Well, one of the things that I've enjoyed in music is playing bluegrass, and thank you, Salem, Missouri, for that. I don't know if you know what that means, but the Dillards were from Salem, Missouri. And when I was a teenager in Orange County, I was trying to learn how to play the banjo. And I wasn't weird, okay? I was just a teenager with a banjo. I wasn't weird, okay? I was a teenager.
He wasn't weird.
Unusual. Oh, yes. I mean, I had a dog. So that's common. Yeah, I had an East German Shepherd, actually. East German. It kept people in my yard. You got to explain that to younger people, you know. The every child left behind thing really worked. But I was living in Orange County, and it was just, I knew there was something better to. I wanted to get out of town. And the Dillards came from Salem, Missouri, and ended up playing a club that I went to just by. I was drugged there, and that got me into bluegrass and their style. Oops, this is a little bit out of tune. Be there in a minute. No, not the Louie Louie of bluegrass. I'm sorry. I did work up a version of dueling banjos for just one banjo, okay? Just one banjo. It's a little boring without the... But this Flat and Shrug song took me away. And another time, that the title of the song is not in the song. I don't... But you'll figure that out.
There's a well-beaten path on an old mountainside where I wandered when I was a lad. And I wandered alone in that place I call home, in those Blue Ridge hills far away. Oh, I love those hills of old Virginia. From those Blue Ridge hills I did roam. When I die, won't you bury me on
Blue Ridge Mountain home
cabin. Oh man.
Well, my thoughts wander back to that ramshackle shack in those Blue Ridge hills far away, where my mother and father are laid there to rest. They are sleeping in peace together there.
Oh, I love those hills of old Virginia. From those Blue Ridge hills I did roam. When I die, won't you bury me on a mountain far away in my Blue Ridge Mountain home?
How about that? I return to that old mountain home with a sigh of a longing for days gone by. When I die, won't you bury me on that old mountainside? Make my resting place upon the hills so high. Oh, I love those hills of old Virginia. From those Blue Ridge hills I did roam. When I die, won't you bury me on a mountain far away in my Blue Ridge Mountain home? When I die, won't you bury me on a mountain far away in my Blue Ridge Mountain home?
Thank you. This is one that we won a Grammy with Earl Scruggs, and it seems like the banjo sounds good in here. So let's do Earl's breakdown. The two-person, if you want to clap at what he does, that's a good thing. Makes him play better.
It'll cover up the bad notes.
They don't clap that much.
Hope springs eternal.
You're going to have to push it on this one now.
Oh, God.
Yeah. How's it go? Thank you. This album we put out called Made in Brooklyn was made in Brooklyn. And the reason I found that out was we were recording this song. I wanted to do a couple of Warren Zevon songs. Matt wanted to do one in particular. And, oh, well, hey, let's
We
do
have
that.
Zevon fans here. Ow!
And I did listen to Steve Martin, the comedian, actor, playwright, magician. Steve and I met in high school, and we were both trying to get a job in the magic shop in Disneyland, hanging out in the summer of our, just before senior year. And we had lunch together the first day we met. It was really weird because we had lunch in Tomorrowland, by the House of Tomorrow, and it was just prophetic in a way. We both ended up getting the jobs in the magic shop, which we did for about 3 years. And then we both found the banjo at the same time. So here's me. I mean, I knew Steve was going to be, I believed he was going to be successful. Even in high school, you had a cheerleader leading cheers wearing a pink tutu. You knew that he was on a different page, right? And of course, the first reviews weren't good. They never are. First review the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band got in LA Times was by Leonard Feather, and it said, "Doubtful if they'll ever be captured on record." Thank you. Well, let's go get a record deal. Okay. But Steve is a fine banjo player, and years went by. He did a lot of the things that you know him for. But a few years ago, he had me produce an album called The Crow, and we won a Grammy. So I got to call back the favor. Yeah, thank you. An actual Grammy. I mean, not that it means that much to me. It does weigh about 9.7 pounds. It does, means a lot. And for Best Bluegrass Album. So I called him up to play banjo, and he's always told people I taught him how to play the banjo, so it was really exciting to me to have a student. And I played mandolin on it, but this is a version we got tonight of this Warren Zevon song that's on the Brooklyn album.
I would like to add that I played with Warren Zevon for the last few years of his life, and he wrote this one for us to play together, and I never got a chance to record it with him. So thanks, John.
Oh, I'm playing the part of Zevon then? Oh, no.
You're a nicer guy.
Aww.
I mean, he was a great guy. You know how some people are crusty on the outside and sweet and soft on the inside? No, Warren was a marble cake. My Dirty Life and Times. Sometimes I feel like my shadow's casting me, and some days the sun don't shine, and sometimes I wonder what tomorrow's gonna bring when I think about my dirty life and time. One day I came to a fork in the road. I just couldn't go where I was told. Now they'll hunt me down and hang me for my crimes if I tell them about my dirty life and times. Well, I had someone till she went out for a stroll. Should have run after her. It's hard to find a girl with a heart of gold when you're living in a four-letter world. Oh, but if she won't love me, then her sister will. She's from say one thing and mean anothersville. And she can't seem to make up her mind. You can relate, huh? when I tell her about my dirty life and time. I'll play it. Sometimes I feel like my shadow's casting me, and some days the sun don't shine. Sometimes I wonder how I'm still running free, all up and down the line. Well, I get a little lonely, don't you know what I mean? And I'm looking for a woman with low self-esteem who'll lay me out and ease my worried mind while I'm winding down my dirty life and time. Who'll lay me out and ease my worried mind while I'm winding down my dirty life and time.
Thank you.
You betcha. I was just leaving.
How about Matt Cartsonis? He's going to take a break for a minute. I'd like to play something in the old-timey frailing style of banjo. Feel kind of honored to be able to say that last September I was inducted into the Oklahoma City Banjo Hall of Fame. And thank you. Complete shock to me, but a wonderful thing. I immediately called the German Shepherd and said, guess what? One of the things I like to do is play in unusual tunings. And play something that I dedicate it to my mom because she she put up with a lot of banjo noise in those early days. The first month I was playing, she'd come out, stick her head out where I was practicing. Goes, "Can't you play any music on that?" That didn't bother me because I just made me practice harder. But what bothers me is over the years, it's not easy being a banjo player, okay? I mean, people come up to you and say things, oh, you played the banjo. How did you hear about the banjo player that went into Walmart and he got inside and he remembered too late, he forgot to lock his car. He ran out there, he left his banjo in the car and he got out there, he was too late. There were 3 more banjos. It is kind of funny, isn't it? My own son. You'd think maybe family would be a little more. One of my sons called me last week and said, "Dad, did you hear about the discovery NASA made?" I said, "No, what?" He says, "They found that there is something shaped like a banjo on Mars, proving there's no intelligent life." living the dream that I've been able to live. I'm very grateful for playing the banjo all over the world, and I thank you for that. A lot of those stories are in a book that comes out in April called The Life I've Picked. I just turned in the final manuscript. I'm very excited about it. Talks about all kinds of strange places this instrument has taken me. Things like getting a call from the manager saying, can you go to Nashville and help Gary Hart run for president? Well, he must really be in trouble if he's calling me. Spent 3 days on the road with Gary Hart. Until he got into too much monkey business. The week after that. But things like very strange circumstances. You want to know the strangest one? Totally came about because of this banjo. I got a call. My wife and I were living in New York one time for about 4 years. And one night, late at night, the phone rings and it's a lady. Hi, my husband passed away just last week and I wondered if you'd play at his funeral. He was your biggest fan. Well, it's quite an honor to be asked that. What does your husband do? Oh, he was the voice of Mickey Mouse for 35 years. I raised my kids on this guy's voice. Well, what do you do, ma'am? She goes, I'm the voice of Minnie. Now, this is true, okay? It's weird, right? It's unusual. No, this was weird. So I told her, yeah, I'll be there. A week later, a few days later, I was in Forest Lawn in Burbank, standing next to Wayne Allwine's coffin. Wayne Allwine was a man's name. Standing next to Mickey Mouse. It's just, that's weird. Okay, that's weird. Just in case you weren't sure. But it got weirder, okay? It gets weirder. I didn't think it would, but Wayne played the banjo and the mandolin and piano and trumpet and all kinds of things. And I'm doing a 20-minute set for a bunch of Disney people, you know, and some friends like Gonzo and Kermit and other people. Fairy Godmother was there, and then Rusey hands me Wayne's banjo and says, it's time for the song. Okay. You know the song. Now it's weird, okay? Remember who I'm standing next to, okay? And then it gets to... Now, see, that's where it really got weird, because it wasn't just anybody that said Donald Duck. It was Donald fucking Duck. And I'm thinking it can't get any weirder than this. Next to the coffin, next to the hole. Now it's time to say goodbye. It starts going into the hole. And then... And she says, see you real soon. Everybody goes, why? Because we love you. She told me later I put the fun back in funeral. Here's one I recorded. Part of that dream in Orange County was to someday record with Earl Scruggs. And it happened because of the Uncle Charlie album and getting out there and asking Earl to play. And he said, I'd be proud to. And we did Soldier's Joy. Thank you. Around 1872, along came the Arkansas Traveler. Turkey in the Straw. Help me out. Thank you. Hey, Matt. Let me go retune my. I want to leave you alone. Is it okay if I leave you alone with Matt for a minute? He's a wonderful artist. And he might have a message or two for you. Let me go retune this thing.
All righty, one or two. Okay. Hello, friends. Here's a special little ditty. I would like to dedicate this to Marilyn McEuen, John's wife, who's here tonight. Don't point at me, she said. Are you glaring at me? And I'd also like to dedicate it to the person who's sitting next to you, whoever they may be. We had a little quarrel, she and I. She told me just to curl up and die. So I crept out to drown my sorrows at a joint called No Tomorrows, where the old man came and looked me in the eye. Old Blevins. Well, I could see he had some wisdom to impart, some story that was etched and burned and stamped upon his heart. And then his eyes began to glisten, 'cause he could see that I would listen. And we sat there at that bar till nearly 3. And this is what old Blevins said to me. Well, he said, Blah, 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 blah. In Tijuana. Blah, blah, blah. Back in 1963. He said blah, 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 blah. Hey, man, you should have been there. Blah, 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 is what old Blevins said to me. That's right. I sat there and I listened to his words as they flapped around my head like little birds. Had he gone plumb round the bend, or could I just not comprehend? But his lips were writing lines I could not read. When suddenly, all at once, it all came clear to me. When he said blah, 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 them crazy hippies, blah, 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 no effect on me. He said blah, 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 the Great Depression, blah, 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 and he would not leave me be. I'll pick it. Old Blevins was still speaking as I seized my chance to flee. Back home she's never known, but I'm not the fool I used to be. And I know that a man and a woman's life were somehow changed by a loathsome, toothless geezer, incoherent and deranged. And my memories of that evening fuel an inner mounting fear that I might become old Blevins anywhere that they sell beer. And I'll say blah, 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 blah. I don't remember. Blah, 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 blah. Mistakes were made. I'll say blah, 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 blah. Fake news, fake news, fake news, sad, blah, blah, blah. Like old Blevins used to say. Old Blevins. As any of the three Elvises across the street would say, thank you very much. Hello, John.
I have to follow that. That's great, Matt. Any questions? Not yet, huh? Okay, another time put in. You know, let's do Acoustic Traveler.
Well, okay.
Okay?
Then.
Yeah. Oh, hey, somebody heard. This is a song I take very seriously. That always cracks me up. I don't know, something's wrong with me, okay? Yes, I sit at night and go, oh, tomorrow I'm going to put my foot through the guitar strap. It's going to be fun.
I'm going to start doing it with you on this thing.
Hey. On the album I've been mentioning, I was able to call people I've wanted to record with for many years. David Bromberg, for one. He's going to be here pretty soon, I believe.
May 31st.
And he's wonderful, if you haven't seen him. And Jay Unger, a wonderful guy. I don't know, has Andy Gessling, has Railroad Earth played here before? They should play. They're a jam band. Andy Gessling's in this group called Railroad Earth. He just plays everything, and he's great. And John Carter Cash on one song. And
that's Johnny's kid.
He likes to say, tells people, I come from a musical family. One of the nicest guys you could meet. And David Amram, a whole wonderful cast of players. That we spent 2 days recording in an old church in Brooklyn. And the title came, Steve Martin was there for that song, and he said, what are you calling the album? I said, I don't know. He says, well, we're in Brooklyn. Why don't you call it Made in Brooklyn? Well, duh. Okay, yeah. And so it stuck. This is a song I call Acoustic Traveler that I put together years ago. It's what we got with two of us tonight. I'm feeling kind of sad and lonely. I lost my sweet one and only. I'm gonna find my baby. I don't mean maybe, gonna find her. Yeah, I'm gonna find my baby. I'm gonna bring her home to me. my bags are all packed for the travel. I'm gonna cover many miles of gravel. I'm gonna find my baby. I don't mean maybe gonna find her. Yeah, I'm gonna find my baby. I'm gonna bring her home to me. Why'd she have to go away and leave me? You know, I think she went away just to grieve me. 'Cause while I was sleeping, she went a midnight creeping. I'm gonna find that girl. Yeah, I'm gonna find my baby. Gonna bring her home to me. Going down to Texas, going to Georgia, going to Alabama, gonna go to Florida. I'm going to Arkansas, going to Louisiana, Tennessee. Yeah, I'm gonna find my baby, gonna bring her home to me. Back in the day, back when I mentioned that there was no dirt band for 6 months after Paint Your Wagon, I spent some time rehearsing and learning songs together with Bernie Ledden, about 2 years before the Eagles came along for him. And that's why he sounds familiar to some of you, and some of you probably know. And Bernie and I, well, he went off to do the Dillard and Clark thing, and I got his job playing with Andy Williams for a month at Caesar's Palace. That was his trip, I'll tell you, man. It was like, I mean, can you imagine? I go to Andy Williams' office in La Cienega, and it was an audition. And he says, well, get your banjo out and play along with this song. And he said, it's in the key of C. I went, okay. And he puts on Stevie Wonder doing For Once in My Life. And about halfway through, I figured I was going to get kicked out. And he goes, okay, you're hired. Be in Vegas next week. And I was there for a month. It was really fun. Sat in front of Jimmy Gordon, the drummer. Now, by saying Jimmy Gordon, the drummer, he played on a third of the records that were on the radio at the time. From I Can Dig It, You Can Dig It, We Can Dig It, She Can Dig It, to Boots Are Made for Walking, all kinds of stuff. He's a 21-year-old wonderkind, one of the Wrecking Crew drummers. I sat in front of him for a month. And this is this weird path I've been on. I watched him learning how to play the piano with little three-fingered chords. And what was it? 4 years later, he's the guy that played the piano on Layla. You know? And that's pretty good.
And now he's in jail.
Yeah, he is. He listened to voices in his head and ended up killing his mother. That was
The perils of a life in music.
well,
Save yourselves.
heroin addict. But that
We're
was
here to take it for you.
It was one of those times on the road that, boy, did I get diverted from the topic, didn't I? I hope you don't mind, do you? I mean, it's just that history that's weird.
It suddenly got dark in here.
Well, no, the bright side was, before all the bad stuff happened to him, I'd always trying to, I had 6 kids. I needed money, so I'd make bets with the band, right? Okay, yeah, Jimmy Gordon played the piano on Layla. No, he didn't, they all said. So I booked a day off in Memphis because Jimmy Gordon was playing with Hoyt Axton and Joan Baez. And we went to the sound check, and I hadn't seen him in 3 years. Hey, Jimmy, yeah, good to see you. My bandmates don't think you played the piano on Layla. And he just went like this and walked over to the piano, and everything stopped on stage, and he played that beautiful solo. And it was him. They never paid me the $50, so darn. So Bernie wrote some songs before the Eagles, along with Gene Clark, right?
Gene Clark and Bernie Ledden.
And this is on the Brooklyn album. Get this singing too. I think it's one of my favorite songs from those hippie days of country rock and all that forming, people trying to figure out what to do. Matt's going to sing it for
I'm starting to understand what it means, but figure it out for yourselves. And with the length of her mind, she darked the sun. Well, it was not so long ago, maybe just a year or so, when I was lonely and went looking for someone. Way down south in New Orleans, just looking for my dream. That's when I saw her, well, that's when it all begun. And she was there on that night, said, for you I know I'm right, and I'll be with you until my race is run. She walked into my life with her cold and evil eyes, and with the length of her mind, she darked the sun. Ah, fiddle! Memory cannot speak, and oh Lord, I'm feeling weak, but I blame it on the fact that I was young. And although it may sound strange, there is no way I can change what my fate has laid out for me now is done. He was there on that night, said, for you I know I'm right, and I'll be with you until my race is run. She walked into my life with her cold and evil eyes, and with the length of her mind, she darked the sun. I'll fiddle again. With her cold and evil eyes, and with the length of her mind, she darked the sun. And with the length of her mind, she darked the sun.
We got Dan Smith here. Now, do you know Dan Smith? River Rock, I know you've heard of. Dan, get up here. I'm going to have you play on a song with us. Make him welcome to the stage, Dan Smith.
He's more local than barbecue.
I met Dan in 1972, I think it was. 4? Okay, yeah. That's okay. I guess I was thinking of my age. I'm 72. I should have been 73, but I was sick for a year. And boy, is that an old joke. But I went and sat in with his band after his show. It was really fun. River Rock, first time I met him. And he had that thing on then. Dan?
Just trying to clean things up around here.
Yeah. Thank you.
Were you going to jump or anything? Or?
I thought I was going to have cold feet, and I do because it's 10 degrees out. I have cold feet. Literally cold feet.
Which is why he doesn't have a microphone. And
So this one time,
Oh, this is that one.
what did you think it was? Oh, he's going to play something hot in the
so
mandola.
there was this three-legged dog. And he said, "Sheriff, I ain't here for no trouble. Just want to get the guy that shot my paw."
I can do worse than that.
Shortened it. You're lucky I shortened it.
You ever hear about the guy that got lost out in the Kansas plains and he pulled up to a farm and was asking directions and the farmer's telling him how to get to where he needs to go and a pig runs out with 3 legs and a wooden leg. 3 regular and just a wooden leg, a pig with a wooden leg. And he's getting the directions, looking at the pig, looking at the farmer. A farmer, I appreciate, but before I go, what's the deal with the wooden leg on the pig? He goes, oh, we love that pig. It's a family pet. We just love him. All the kids grew up with that pig, and we love smartest animal we've ever seen. Well, why the wooden leg? That pig's so smart, one time about, a few months ago, there was a fire in the house, and the pig ran through the house squealing, waking everybody up, chased everybody out of the house. We love that pig. And Mom was standing there, she goes, the baby, and the pig heard her. And he ran inside, and he found the baby and drug him out on a blanket. We love that pig. Well, why is the wooden leg? He goes, well, we just love that pig. We couldn't eat them all at once. Hey, I got that from the Grand Ole Opry. I got a lot of things from the backstage pass that the Circle album gave me to the Grand Ole Opry is a wonderful thing because I've been able to stand on that stage and watch great things. I watched Uri Acuff say things that I wouldn't get away with on the Opry. They would have put me in jail. My God. One time he's out there, Acuff, and Minnie Pearl standing next to him with the price tag on her hat. And she, Minnie and I are just so proud to be out here tonight. We got a new song. Hey, Roy, what's that suppository doing in your ear? And Minnie and I got a song we worked up just for tonight, and we want to play. Roy, what's that suppository doing in your ear? Well, Minnie, what'd you say, Minnie? What's that suppository doing in your ear? I got to call my wife. Why do you have to call your wife? Because I think I know where my hearing aid is. That was true. That's what he said. I didn't think it was funny. Just a touchborne monitor on this, please. Dan Smith. Very hard to follow, Matt. Good luck. Matt. Dan Smith, Matt Cartsonis. Nice to see all the people that don't have cable getting out, and it's too cold to leave. Hey, excuse me, could you grab one of those, Matt or somebody, could you grab one of those stools for me over there by the gentleman? Thank you.
I'll follow through here.
Security, throw him out. Right there's fine. Thanks, man.
Oh, certainly. Teamwork.
Well, we know each other now. Come on. Be right there. One of the things that was thrilling about making the Brooklyn album was playing with people that I played festivals with or shows or on the road. Come on, boy. And getting them to play along on a bunch of tunes that I'd picked out over the years. That Bernie Leadon song, been trying to record for at least 20 years and found the people to do it. And this is one I wrote for it. I'm not sure what to call it. Whoops, sorry there. I called it Brooklyn Crossing. Thank you. You know, I played Knuckleheads a bunch, and it never Hasn't been enough yet, so I hope to come back sometime. And I think it should be on the National Historic record, too. Best biker bar. It's the kind of place I've told people many times, you drive up here for the first time and you want to call your agent and say, what have you gotten me into? As soon as you're done, you call them and say, when can I go back? So it kind of sounds like, kind of feels like home here. And so I can't think of a better. Well, Kansas City has always felt like home. Back in the band days, it was really fun. We'd come here and take days off and go eat at Jimmy and Mary's Steakhouse. And remember that, Matt? Is your guitar plugged in? What was that? Oh, well. Something. Ooh, not now. So I thought of this, maybe a good old song like Home Sweet Home would be good. And just the way they played it back on the prairie in the old days. Sorry, I forgot. I got to put it on this leg for the bridge, you know, where it goes to the 4 chord. It goes, you know. I can't do it. There's. It's not hard, it's just a long reach. Might have noticed. Come on, see? It's not easy. Well, actually, I was saying this is an old song. They used to play in D tuning like this. Because you could play the melody with just one finger, if you wanted to. Like this. Of course, maybe you're asking yourself, well, you're playing with one finger, how are you going to do the 4 chord? Well, you pay the big money, do the big show. Thank you. Now.
Is it time, John?
Yeah, it's time. Why not?
Listen.
Have we missed anything? Yeah, Carter family.
There are people looking for CDs.
They are? Did you
Yeah.
find them upstairs?
I didn't find them.
We got some, oh, sorry, Mike. Thought I got taller or something. Who is that? Not me. Yeah, we got some, I got a small bunch of the Brooklyn CDs, if you're interested, after the show. Matt, you want to do another one?
I beg your pardon?
You know, I got nowhere to go, so you want to do another one?
Do another song?
By yourself.
Oh, me? Sure. Do you need to tune?
I'm going to have Matt do one more because I think you really, I got to retune my guitar, and I'll be right back. Matt Cartsonis.
Are we friends yet? Okay. Now, did most of you grow up in the country? Well, here's a song that's dedicated to all of you then, and a little special tune sort of aimed at the generation gap, or the lack thereof. Many, many years ago, when I was 23, I was married to a widow who was pretty as can be. This widow had a grown-up daughter who had hair of red. My father fell in love with her, and soon they too were wed. This made my dad my son-in-law and changed my very life. My daughter was my mother 'cause she was my father's wife. To complicate the matter, even though it brought me joy, I soon became the father of a bouncing baby boy. My little baby then became a brother-in-law to Dad, and so became my uncle, even though it made me sad. 'Cause if he is my uncle, then that also makes him brother to the widow's grown-up daughter, who of course is my stepmother. With me so far? Okay. Father's wife then had a child who kept him on the run, and he became my grandchild 'cause he was my daughter's son. My wife is now my mother's mother, and it makes me blue, for although she is my wife, she's my grandmother too. Now, if my wife is my grandmother, I am her grandchild, and every time I think of it, it nearly drives me wild. For now I have become the strangest case I ever saw. As husband to my grandmother, I am my own grandpa. This is the part where y'all sing along. Oh, I'm my own grandpa. One more time. I'm my own grandpa. It sounds funny, I know, but it really is so. One more time. I'm my own grandpa. Thank you.
I still can't figure that one out.
It could happen, though. It could happen and probably has.
I can't figure that one out. Some of you might know that when I was a teenager, I went to the Grand Ole Opry and got there just in time, well before the Dirt Band had started. And right when I looked in the window, Lester Flatt, let's bring out Mama Maybelle Carter to do the Wildwood Flower. And he and Earl and Maybelle kind of sounded like this. And it was only 5 years later, we're in the studio, and Maybelle said, well, on that old record, I started it like this. There's a dark and a troubled side of life. There's a bright and a sunny side too. Though we meet with the darkness and strife, may the sunny side always come to you. Keep on the sunny side, always on the sunny side. Keep on the sunny side of life. It will help us every day. It will brighten all our way if we keep on the sunny side of life. Oh, the storm and its fury broke today, crushing hopes that we all held so dear. Clouds and storms, in time they'll pass away. The sun again will shine bright and clear. You know it. Keep on the sunny side of life. It will help us every day. It will brighten all our way if we keep on the sunny side of life. And it was just as we finished that, Mr. Roy Acuff walked in just in time for us to start this one. Now, we weren't sure he was coming or not, because he said, well, I don't know if they're old boys or young men or what. They're all covered with hair. But that's when we started this one. I was standing by my window on a cold and cloudy day when I saw that hearse come rolling for to take my mother away. Will the circle be unbroken by and by, Lord, by and by? There's a better home awaiting in the sky, Lord, in the sky. Undertaker, undertaker, oh, would you please drive slow for that body that you're carrying? Oh, I hate to see her go. Will the circle be unbroken? You know it. By and by, Lord, by and by. There's a better home awaiting in the sky, Lord, in the sky.
Well, I will follow close behind her, try to hold on and be brave. But I could not hide my sorrow when they laid her in her grave. Will the circle be unbroken?
Come on.
By and by, Lord, by and by. Come on. There's a better home awaiting.
Let's hear them do it now.
Sky, Lord, in the sky. Will the by and by, Lord, by and by, there's a better home awaiting in the sky, Lord, in the sky.
Thank you. Thank you all for being with us tonight. Appreciate it. Matt Cartsonis.
John McEuen. Hey!
Well, there weren't any more questions, so unless there are, yes. The green violin, it got stolen in Miami. In fact, it was stolen out of the dressing room. That it was a show for the policeman in Miami. It was the week before the Circle album, actually.
That's irony.
Yes, it was. Also, my banjo was stolen. Kenny Loggins was quite a trip. A good trip. Gosh, I wish I had. We don't do that, but thanks for asking. Kenny was hanging around the dressing room with the Troubadour when we were putting together the Uncle Charlie album, and we ended up I cut a demo on him in my Laurel Canyon apartment. Laurel Canyon, ooh. No wonder they thought it was smoke ran out.
The smoke never ran out in Laurel Canyon.
I don't know, man. Never started for me. I didn't have a lot of... never mind. But thanks for asking. Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry? My favorite guitarist?
Yeah, your favorite.
I had a bad flight. I can't hear when I'm coming in. Favorite guitarist would be Doc Watson is one, and Dwayne Allman would be the other, and also, actually, Henry Vestine was absolutely incredible in Canned Heat. It was just killer, but he died, you know? I mean, it's like... but Dwayne was so cool. Because, see, we ran into the Allman Brothers on our first promotional tour. We were in St. Louis, coming to Kansas City, but in St. Louis, my brother went to see a group called the Almond Joy and talked him into 3 weeks later, come to L.A. and I'll get you a record deal. And he did, but they changed the name to the Hourglass and it didn't quite work. But in that year they lived there, people were coming out in droves to see Dwayne play. He was just wonderful. In fact, they opened some shows for the Dirt Band. And they'd open their show with Dwayne playing the Buck Owens theme on guitar, and they'd close it with Norwegian Wood. But it was a great version of those songs. And they moved into a house with the Dirt Band for about 2 months when they first came out. Boy, you talk 6 guys in the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band and the Allman Brothers in the same house. What a mess. But it was really an incredible time. It's all in the book, by the way. The life I picked.
The oatmeal thing, is that in the book?
No, I don't think so. I mean, here's how little we had to do and how little money we had. We're waiting to get on the radio to try and just waiting for Buy From Me the Rain to maybe get played. We had so little money living in this house that every Thursday or so we'd have oatmeal night, which meant that one of the guys would be picked to eat 3 bowls or 2 or 3 bowls of dry oatmeal. No, just as much as, oh, come on, 1 more spoon, Bruce, come on, 1 more. And when he finally couldn't eat anymore, he'd drink 3 glasses of water and lay on the floor. And we'd watch him swell up. That was the fun.
That's entertainment.
Yeah. I'll never forget driving down Sunset Boulevard at 1:10 in the morning by Sunset and Vine, and KRLA said, "Here's a new song by the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band, Buy For Me the Rain." I almost drove off the road. It was finally. I mean, but keep in mind, that was a young group. One guy was 16. I was the old one. I was 21. So when we went out on the road, I became the road manager because I was the only one old enough to rent a car. Anyway, good times, as they say. Playing a bunch of strange music. Yeah?
As long as we're here, well, we could do Favorite Dreamin' Then 99 years.
Yeah, I want to do a song that's on the new album, just the two-person version. Now, on this album, we have David Bromberg and great bass player Skip Ward and Andy Gessling playing clarinet. But this song came up because Del Bryant, the guy that wrote with his wife Dream and Rocky Top.
Well, Boudleaux Bryant.
Did I say? Oh, Del Bryant's his son. I'm sorry. Yeah, Boudleaux Bryant. His son, Del, sent this. Would you like to hear one of my dad's tapes he made in the living room that nobody's heard? Oh, yeah. Let me think about it. Yes. And this is one of the songs we picked.
Yeah, seriously, Felice and Boudleaux wrote every Everly Brothers song you ever heard. Bye Bye Love, Bird Dog, Kathy's Clown, Wake Up Little Susie. Rocky Top.
The good one. So this is a song that he wrote that never got out there except through us. And it's on this album. It's absolutely wonderful. I must listen to this song 5 times a week. I don't know. I mean, really.
Yeah. I play it at home.
Oh. Hang on a second. Dang it. It is a banjo.
We're just waiting for the train to pass. Choo, choo. A lawn chair to recline in while I gaze into the blue. A cottage by a lake, accommodations just for two. My heart full of contentment, my arms full of you. That's my favorite dream. A private little lover's lane that winds among the trees. A friendly little cloudlet chasing robins on the breeze. A whispered word of love from you, a tender little squeeze. That's my favorite dream. And in the evening on the patio, we'll cuddle in the glow of the stars that shine. They say that dreams have a way of coming true. And darling, if they do, you will soon be mine. And in the evening on the patio, we'll cuddle in the glow of the stars that shine. I know that dreams have a way of coming true. And darling, if they do, you will soon be mine. It's funny how the daylight makes me feel a little shy, but nighttime brings me everything my waking hours deny. 'Cause then I say I love you, and with kisses you reply. In my favorite dream, my very favorite dream. Muchas gracias.
Oh, yes, Matt. Bluegrass is good music to go to for advice.
Especially when you're heading down the wrong road.
Yes, it is. You can find truth. Jimmy Martin said he sang the truth. Hold what you got. I'm coming home, baby. Hold what you got. I don't mean maybe. Been thinking about you, and I'm on my way. Don't sell the house and don't wreck the car. Just stay there, honey, right where you are. Jimmy Martin, great song. Hold what you got. Oh, the other one he told me about. I just finished a new song for my new ex-wife. It's called I Shouldn't Have Said I Do, But I Did. But here's another one. Matt, let's take him away.
I've been in this prison 20 years or more. Put my woman with the 44. I'll be right here till my dying day. I got 99 years and one dark day. Well, the food is bad and the beds are hard. Spend all day breaking rocks in the yard. When there ain't no change, it's gonna stay that way. I got 99 years, one dark day. Go on, John. I didn't learn to read, never learned to write. My whole life, it's been one big fight. I ain't never learned about the righteous way. I got 99 years, one dark day. And there ain't no singer gonna sing a song. Convince Edward and that I ain't wrong. Is my made up? It's gonna stay that way. I got 99 years and one dark day. Look out. I committed a crime several years ago. Shot my woman with a 44. I'll be right here till my dying day. Got 99 years and one dark day. Got 99 years and one dark day.
Thank you all. Thank you very much. Be back with some CDs if you want some. Thank you. Matt Cartsonism.
Thanks.